Hey guys, what's up? If you follow the Instagram page, then you know my next AR build is the 458 SOCOM. Now the reason I started this build is due to a combination of things. I had quite a few parts already laying around, and I acquired more during this last Black Friday sales. But the final decision to pick 458 SOCOM over the 450 Bushmaster or 50 Beowulf is largely due to the history behind the 458 round, and the connection that I personally have to the history. Most of you have seen or heard of the movie Black Hawk Down. It's based on the book by Mark Bowden about the Battle of Mogadishu during Operation Gothic Serpent back in '93. The three main military units involved in that battle were B Company, 3rd Battalion 75th Ranger Regiment, a helicopter package from the 160th SOAR, and C Squadron of the 1st Special Forces Operation Detachment Delta. Other units include DevGru, 24th Special Tactics Squadron, and the 10th Mountain. On the afternoon of October 3rd, Task Force Ranger with a ground convoy and a helo assault force was sent to capture a couple of leaders of a Somali warlord's clan.
All units, Irene. I say again, Irene.
After the first casualty, Sergeant Pilla, things kept getting worse. After the death of Sergeant Pilla, the Black Hawk Super 6-1, piloted by Cliff Wolcott, was brought down by an RPG hit to the tail rotor.
Super 6-1 is hit. He is hit. Wolcott's bird is hit. Super 6-1 is down. We got a bird down in the city.
Then a little later, Super 6-4, piloted by Mike Durant, was also brought down by an RPG hit to the tail rotor. They were able to get a small recovery team to Super 6-1's crash site, but couldn't get anyone to Super 6-4. So with no one available to get to Super 6-4's crash site, two Delta snipers, Master Sergeant Gary Gordon and Sergeant First Class Randy Shugart, volunteered to be inserted and secure Super 6-4's crash site, knowing that the odds were stacked against them.
C2, Shugart and Gordon are on the deck. Over.
But without their help, if there were any survivors in Super 6-4's crash, the Somalis would get to them and tear them apart. And because of Master Sergeant Gordon and Sergeant First Class Sugart's sacrifice, they were able to hold off the Somali fighters for a while, which ended up saving pilot Mike Durant's life, and they took him as a hostage. I was 13 at the time, but like the Challenger disaster, the image of the Somalis dragging the body of Super 6-4's crew chief through the streets of Mogadishu on CNN are forever etched into my memory. My connection to this story is easy, and most of you guys that follow the channel know that for the last 9 or 10 years of my Army career, I was a Black Hawk guy in 160th. And then one day it hit me. The fact that I used to fly on and fix the same aircraft that flew on that day, and now, in my lifetime, they're sitting in a museum. It's kind of crazy. Well, the reason the 458 round is connected to this event is that during the gunfight, the Ranger and Delta operators were having difficulty dropping Somali fighters. The reason for this is a combination of the smaller 5.56 round and the fact that in the afternoon is when the Somali fighters would chew on a grass-like flowering plant called khat, which is a stimulant that has very similar effects like that of cocaine. With the Somali fighters all hyped up on khat, they were able to fight longer, harder, and better than they would be able to if they weren't on khat. So after our guys left Somalia and came back to the States, they reviewed the experiences that Task Force Ranger had during the firefight. The consensus was that they needed a round that would put down an enemy combatant, even if he was being aided by performance-enhancing drugs.
Say hello to my little friend!
A number of rounds would be considered for this, and the round had to be compatible with the M4 platform. One of the rounds being considered was the 45 Professional, which today is known as the 450 Bushmaster. The reason that it wasn't picked up is that the steel used in the bolt and barrel extension to be able to handle the pressures was proprietary to General Motors. Overall, the 458 round was chosen for its subsonic ability and the amount of available bullet designs offered at the time. Then Tony Rumor of Tromix, who won the contract to manufacture the round, suggested using a lengthened 50 AE case because it would work in existing magazines, and it was the largest diameter that would feed through the barrel's extension lugs. And that's the quick history behind the 458 round, but let's get to my build. To start off, I built a collapsible lower receiver using an Aero Precision M4E1 lower receiver with a LaRue MBT 2-stage trigger, a Law Tactical folding stock adapter, and a Magpul Gen 3 PRS stock. And the other parts I used in this lower are the Strike Industries Viper Enhanced pistol grip at a 15-degree cant, the Strike ambidextrous switch safety selector, and as always I went with a bolt catch and ambi magazine release from Forward Control Design. I've tried a few ambidextrous mag releases, and theirs by far is the best I've used to date. Now let's go over the upper receiver. The upper receiver itself is a 458 marked upper from Aero Precision, and I'll go into detail on it along with the barrel I use after I list the rest of the parts. Remember, the parts for the upper receiver I already had or were purchased during the Black Friday sales last year, which are the Bear Creek Arsenal 458 barrel, the CAC Industries Bolt Carrier Group, SLR Rifle Works Sentry Adjustable Gas Block, Rise Armament 15-inch Lightweight M-Lock Handguard, Strike Industries Latchless Charging Handle, and Ultimate Dust Cover. So let's talk about that Black Friday barrel purchase from Primary Arms. The barrel was made by Bear Creek Arsenal, and I believe this purchase was prior to their ICE raid at their manufacturing facility, which found they had some illegal immigrants working for them. That's one reason their prices were so low, but the other reason I feel is the low quality or lack of quality control in their products. Now, I'm not saying everything they make is garbage, but the odds that you'll get something out of spec is kinda high. This 458 SOCOM barrel was only my second Bear Creek Arsenal purchase, with the first being the original barrel in my 300 Black pistol build. The whole reason I built the 300 Black was to suppress it, and once I attached my can to it, I found a problem. With the suppressor attached, I looked down the barrel, and with the can attached, I shouldn't have seen any change in the light at the end of the barrel. There was a slight shadowed crescent at the top left of the muzzle. This meant that the barrel threads weren't cut concentric and perpendicular to the bore, and the possibility of a barrel strike, at least to my eyes, is kinda high. So seeing as the Surefire 300 SPS was my first can, and I just got out of jail shortly after the 300 Black pistol was built, I didn't want to take the chance and have a baffle strike. So needless to say, I swapped out the Bear Creek Arsenal barrel for a Roscoe 300 Black barrel, and that barrel was good to go. Now I didn't want to write off Bear Creek Arsenal off completely from just one single barrel, so I gave them another shot on Black Friday and got their 458 barrel. Now I didn't have an issue with the barrel thread concentricity, but there was a problem with the threads. I found that problem after purchasing the 458 muzzle brake from JCB Solutions. Tromix created the 458 SOCOM, so their specs should be standard, but as I found out, some barrel manufacturers, like Bear Creek Arsenal, don't use the 5/8 by 24 thread pitch, and I found that this Bear Creek Arsenal barrel had a 5/8 by 32 thread pitch. So I contacted JCB Solutions and asked if they can make the 458 brake that they sell with a 5/8 by 32 thread pitch, and thankfully they did. But try to buy a barrel with the correct 5/8 by 24 thread pitch. Being a machinist, I know how easy it is to make muzzle devices, minus the more ornate ones, like those from Aeronox, Venom Defense, or QD suppressor mounts, like the Surefire SFMB that I have attached to many of my rifles. So it's hard for me to buy the simple devices at those higher prices. That's why when I found JCB Solutions, I was quite pleased. They have many styles in multiple calibers, and I think every brake that they have sells for under $50. And while I was asking if they could make the 458 SOCOM brake with the 5/8 by 32 thread pitch, I'd asked if he'd make a coupon code for everyone that watches this video. He agreed, and the discount code is Fitty for 10% off of already a very good price. So if you'd like, go check him out. So now that we went over the problems with the barrel, let's go over the problems with the upper receiver. Now, unless the receiver is from Tromix, War Dogs, or another company that does them correctly, what other manufacturers do is take their already existing AR-15 upper receivers and modify them. Most of the modifications only change one part of the upper receiver, which is the extraction port. They mill away the top right lip for the dust cover to allow for the extraction of the thick 458 SOCOM case. Aero Precision did that with this 458 marked upper receiver, but there was another problem: the feed ramp. The 458 SOCOM round uses normal AR-15 magazines, but they're single stack, and a 30-round AR-15 magazine can hold 10 458 SOCOM rounds that are center fed into the barrel extension and chamber. But this Aero 458 SOCOM upper still has its original M4 feed ramps on either side. This is where a lot of guys get frustrated with their 458 SOCOM builds. Many don't pay attention, and some look at the large single feed ramp in the 458 SOCOM barrel extension and assume that it's good. But there's a small right-angled lip between each of the M4 feed ramps. Remember, the 458 SOCOM is center-fed from an AR-15 magazine, and the lip between the M4 feed ramps is also centered, so you can get failure to feed malfunctions from either the tip of the bullet catching the lip or the edge of the case catching on that lip. It's easy to miss, but the answer is to remove the lip for a smooth transition up into the chamber. The way I did it was simple. I put the upper up in a clamp, and I used a Dremel to remove the lip, and then I polished it smooth. It took at most 5 minutes to complete, and though it would have been best to rig it up in a fixture, put it in the mill, and be as precise as possible, this was a simple job, and doing it bubble style was fine. So to sum it up, it's just like any AR build. If you get the proper parts from the correct manufacturers, or else you'll be modifying your upper and trying to find a muzzle device that fits. So buy barrels with the correct single feed ramp extension and 5/8 by 24 thread pitch, and upper receivers that have a single feed ramp, like those from Tromix or War Dogs, and you shouldn't really run into many problems. And that's about it for this video, guys. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and comment below with your thoughts. Everyone's welcome to the Facebook page, and head over to my new website, Fitty Actual, where you can find all the 50% content and the Freedom 350 podcast episodes. Well, that's it, guys. Later.